Hello, welcome and welcome back to a message today from your guides and your helpers about what this full moon, this amazing, incredible full moon is trying to tell you. What messages are you receiving from this beautiful full moon? And we have got Matangi, I hope I've said that correctly. And we have got Inner Critic. Wow, look at these cards. They're so beautiful. So something about looking at a reflection of yourself, something about seeing a mirror, maybe a situation you're in right now, something that's been going on for you is showing something back to you, is revealing something to you about yourself, maybe the way you're thinking, the ways you're talking to yourself, the ways that you're expressing yourself, or maybe you're just being really hard on yourself right now. The inner critic is that little voice of kind of like that's asking you to do better or show up. You know, it's a voice that's putting pressure on you, that's being unkind, that's perhaps speaking to you in words that you wouldn't necessarily speak to others. You know, it's about being a little bit harsh, and you are asked to come into softness. You are asked to come into softness and understand that the spotlight is on you right now. The moon is bringing this incredible ability for you to see something, for something to be illuminated in this present here and now. And perhaps that voice that is speaking to you unkindly and inside you, you know, the way you're speaking to yourself, in other words, is a voice of the past, is something from the past, an old habit, an old conditioning. Perhaps that was how you were spoken to as a child, or perhaps that's what you've learned to do somewhere along the line. Maybe not even, it doesn't have to be from your family, it could be wherever it's come from for you. And it's like you're being asked to come into connection with yourself really clearly. You're being asked to connect to your deepest self, perhaps to the inner child, perhaps to the soul, perhaps to the voice that believes in expression, in freedom, in love, in kindness, and in truth, you know, without judgment, without fear of recrimination or the feelings of unworthiness or lack or whatever it is that is causing you to pull yourself away from the part of you that wants to be in divinity, the part of you that wants to be in synchronicity with the music of your soul, with the music of the universe, the flow, the natural, and yet slightly electric, slightly wild nature that is the freedom in you, that is the true expression of you. You're being asked to come back into connection with yourself, and it's almost like you're being asked to put the sword down. In other words, there's no need for you to be so harsh. There's no need for you to be fighting, be defensive, be reactive. Whatever it is that's going on, that may not be what's happening, but whatever it is for you that's happening, you're being asked to put that down now, to rest, to understand, yes, you have goals, you have desires, you have ideas and things you're trying to achieve, but right now the thing that you'd benefit the most from is actually freedom, and the freedom to just relax and set yourself free from any pressures, any ideas of having to compete or rush or be where somebody else is, you know, wherever you might be comparing yourself, or not necessarily seeing where you are right now and seeing that maybe you're tired, maybe your body is tired, maybe you're being called into that stability, that foundation that is within you. You know, how we become stable is by really noticing where we are feeling emotional, where we're being emotionally reactive, and allow ourselves to bring ourselves back to a place of peace, a place of calm, a place of rest, where we can actually see a higher truth and a higher understanding of what's actually happening here. And maybe when we do that, we're going to see a more expansive view, which means our connection becomes stronger, the connection to ourself becomes deeper, and we become more aligned with our truth and our authenticity and the truth that wants to speak to us from the depths of our soul, from the core of who we are, and perhaps what your goals actually are, because the goals in your mind, the goals that your mind is setting, may not actually be the same as the goals that your soul has for this lifetime. Maybe they are different. And so when you find that connection, you're able to come into alignment with yourself and speak to yourself honestly about what's going on, and even just allow yourself to have a rest, because it really seems like in this picture there's a lot of tiredness. The body is tired, maybe the mind is tired, maybe emotionally you're feeling a bit wrung out, and it just maybe needs to sleep even. That could be the truth for you right now. I do see that there's been so much growth going on under the surface. There's been so much happening here that I'm not sure that you're seeing in this moment. I'm not sure you're aware of just how far you've come and just how much you've grown and expanded. And maybe there's this element of trust that needs to be rekindled in you, this idea of how can I trust what's happening now, even if it doesn't look like what I wanted it to look like, or even if it's not how I expected it to be. How could I trust it more? What if everything was working in my favor? What if all of this was actually the universe helping me get to where I need to get to? And the logical mind will find lots of reasons why that's not the case, and why you need to do something or try harder or whatever it's going to say to you, when actually the soul is calling for you to step back and notice and be present. When you're present with this moment, you will clearly know where it is you're trying to get to. You will clearly feel what is the next step, and more importantly, you'll understand that connection of how to get to the next step and how it relates to where you're at now. Even if it doesn't seem like the two things are in alignment, actually we work in as multidimensional beings. So we are parts of the past, present and the future all at once, and that reality is playing out. So if we trust that, then we could say, okay, here I am right now. What if I was just to get some sleep and in the morning see how I feel then, or allow myself to do what I'm actually really wanting to do, rather than the thing I'm feeling obliged to do or pressured to do, or like I have to do. And don't get me wrong, of course there are commitments and there are situations that we have to do, that we're living in a reality where things need to be done, and yet there still can be time for this rest, for this connection, for this alignment, and for this trust in the higher plan. Allow things to close in for a little bit. In other words, turn inwards, allow yourself to be cocooned in this safe space, wherever that is for you, so that you can just take the time out and restore whatever is needed. I'd really like to look up this card, Matangi or Matangai, and see what is that message that wants to come through. Matangi comes from the Hindu pantheon and is the lesser known dark tantric form of the goddess of language and music, Sarasvati. Her Veena represents the harmonious connection to music and the flow of expression and creativity through sound. A sword at her feet symbolizes the clarity and precision needed in communication to cut through confusion and negativity. Her energy aligns with Gemini, and this card appears as a reminder that your thoughts shape your reality and your words create your life. Are you caught in a negative thought pattern and finding it hard to get out? Or perhaps you've been speaking negatively about yourself and others. See how perfect it is. We had the inner critic. Matangi cautions you that the energy you put out in words and thoughts is magnetic and comes back to you. If you expect the worst, you will likely attract it. So refocus. Whether you're aware of it or not, your current mindset might be steering you away from what you truly want. Think and talk about what you do want and not about what you fear or don't want. This is the golden rule of the law of attraction. Matangi also urges you to listen both to others and to your heart. Communication is key, and if there's been a misunderstanding, it's time to clear the air. Remember, what you think you will become, so think good things. Additional meanings. Tell yourself you can't afford negative thoughts. Turn the situation around with your words and mindset. Think before you reply. Use your thoughts and words wisely. What you think, you eventually will become. Beautiful, beautiful, absolute. And I didn't even see the sword there. That's, yeah, exactly. It was funny because I saw this table actually like a sword. When I said put the sword down, that's what it was reminding me of. And actually, she had, the sword is down. In other words, it's not time to fight. It's not time for action. It's time for connection, for embodiment, for alignment, and for trust that, you are capable of manifesting all that you need and all that you are truly desiring. It is possible for you, and it is time now to allow yourself to come into that alignment, to see yourself and the broader picture as to where they really are. Look at the higher perspective and where are you in the, as the microcosm of the macrocosm of everything, and see, just allow yourself to detach for long enough to understand what is actually going on. This card is all about where we feel we have to fix everything. So I'm going to read it to you as the final part of the message. Dear you, do you feel like you need to do all the work and fix everything for everyone, or you might have no value? Maybe you think you need to control everything, or else nothing will get done, be healed, be completed, etc. You may think you need to conform to what others expect of you, or choose a course of action to manipulate an outcome, but we don't think that would be a good choice. How about this? Even if it makes you temporarily uncomfortable, do something different. Set that boundary, delegate responsibility to another, ask for your needs to be met, and when faced with an impossible situation or sticky, enmeshed relationship, repeat this mantra: I didn't cause it, I can't control it, and it's not my job to cure it. Then carry on. It feels good, doesn't it? The best part is everything just seems to work beautifully and honestly in the end. Love you so, so much. What a beautiful message. And I think that sums up, wherever this feels true for you, it's time just to look at things right now and allow yourself to receive the information that this moon is bringing to you, to allow it to settle deeply, and to allow yourself to sit with it enough that you can process and understand and integrate the message that is coming through for you from this incredible full moon. So I'm wishing you a beautiful full moon. Remember, whenever you receive this reading, it is timeless. So it will be the perfect time if it resonates for you. And please, if you do like this video, do consider liking, sharing and subscribing, as it really does help my channel. It's lovely to connect with you today, and I look forward to maybe seeing you in the next reading.